Sometimes I wonder how things might have turned out if I'd just said no that day. No to helping, no to giving, no to staying quiet. But back then, I still believed that if I loved hard enough, gave enough, waited long enough, they'd see me. They'd choose me too. I grew up in a small red brick house on Maple Lane. Nothing fancy, but it was home. Dad fixed everything himself. Leaky faucets, loose fence posts, even the sagging porch step. Mom kept the garden alive with lavender and daisies. And Jason, my younger brother, he was the golden child. He was 4 years younger, but from the start, he held a different place in our family. When I got an A, they smiled. When Jason got a B-, they clapped. "He tries so hard," Mom would say. "He's a boy. School's tougher for him." When he broke things, they were accidents. When I spoke up, I was dramatic. Still, I loved him. I loved all of them. When I turned 18 and got into college an hour away, I didn't complain. I packed my things, hugged them all goodbye, and left Maple Lane behind, believing it would always be our anchor. But things shifted once I left. My parents never offered to help with rent, even when I was juggling classes and part-time jobs. "You're doing great, sweetie," Mom would say on the phone. "It's good for you to learn independence." Meanwhile, Jason flunked out of community college and moved back home. "He's just figuring things out," Dad told me. "Not everyone finds their path right away." I looked down at the overdue rent notice on my kitchen table and muttered, "Must be nice." By 26, I had a clean but cramped apartment and a full-time job as a medical assistant. Every month, I sent a little money home for groceries, repairs, whatever they needed. It wasn't much, but it was steady. Jason was 22. He hadn't held a steady job in 3 years. No one brought it up. Not on birthdays, not at Christmas, not even when I saw the new car in the driveway with his name on the plate. "Is that Jason's?" I asked casually. Dad chuckled. "Yeah, well, we co-signed. He needs a way to get around if he's going to find a job." "He doesn't have a job," I said. "How is he paying insurance?" There was a pause. Then Mom said sharply, "It's none of your business, Sophia. We're a family. We help each other." I bit my tongue. Again. Told myself, let it go. Family first. Be the bigger person. But something cracked that Thanksgiving when I came home and saw the "for sale" sign gone. "Did you take the house off the market?" I asked, sipping coffee. "Oh, honey," Mom smiled. "We didn't tell you. We've decided not to sell. We're giving the house to Jason. He's going to settle down here. It's time." I blinked. "Giving? As in signing over the house?" "Of course," Dad chimed in. "It's the least we can do to help him get on his feet." The mug trembled in my hands. "You're giving him the house?" I said. "I've been paying my own rent for almost a decade, sending you money, and you're just handing him everything?" Mom smiled like it was a compliment. "You've always been the responsible one. You don't need help. Jason does." "He's done nothing," I snapped. "You've handed him everything while I've scraped for every inch." Her expression hardened. "You're sounding ungrateful, Sophia. You should be happy for your brother. Honestly, sometimes I think you resent him. Just because he's loved." "Loved?" I whispered. "Yes," she said, sharper now. "You're nothing but a freeloader. You take care of yourself." It hit like a punch to the gut. I had been taking care of myself since 18, sending them money, showing up when they needed me. And somehow I was the freeloader. That night I packed my bag early. No goodbye hugs, no leftovers, just that line echoing, "You're nothing but a freeloader. You take care of yourself." So I did. For real, this time. But I also stopped the money. I canceled the monthly transfer. That first morning, I braced for guilt. I thought the silence would feel like abandonment, like I had walked away from something sacred. But instead, I felt light, like I could finally breathe without dragging a weight behind me. It didn't last long. The first message came from Mom. Her voice was cheerful but tight. "Hi, sweetie. I think something's wrong with the bank. The money didn't come through this month. Can you check on that? Hope you're well." I stared at the phone, thumb hovering over delete. Then I hit play again, just to be sure. I sat there staring at the screen, the glowing pictures of a life that was no longer mine. It felt surreal, like looking at a museum exhibit curated by strangers. Every corner, every polished surface, every fresh coat of paint screamed, "You never lived here." But I had. I grew up in that house. I knew which floorboards creaked. I knew the exact spot on the kitchen counter where the laminate peeled up a little like a lifted scab. I knew how the attic smelled like mothballs and dust and memories. Now it was just a commodity. A line was crossed, not just in dollars and square footage, but in something deeper. They didn't just erase me from the narrative. They'd sold the stage altogether. Linda was quiet on the other end. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I know what that house meant to you." "It's not even about the house," I said finally. "It's the fact that they didn't even tell me. Not a word. Like I didn't exist in that space, like I never mattered." She sighed. I wish I could say I'm surprised. But I wasn't either. Not anymore. Something strange happened after that. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I felt lighter. That house held so many versions of me. The child who waited by the window for a mother who was always late. The teenager who cleaned up after Jason's tantrums. The adult who came back, again and again, with bags of groceries and a hopeful heart. All of them were stuck there. But I wasn't. Let them sell it. Let them chase money they didn't earn and rewrite stories they never lived. I had my own story now. And for once, it didn't begin with them. 1542. My throat tightened. Not because I wanted the house. I didn't. But because it was never about the house. 1548. It was about what it represented. Years of memories, sacrifices, and the belief that home was something permanent. 1555. And now it was being flipped for cash like it meant nothing at all. They gave it to him. He gutted it. And now, they expected me to pick up the pieces. 16, but I wouldn't. Not this time. 1608. They burned the bridge, and I wasn't going to rebuild it. 1613. I didn't cry when I saw the listing. I thought I would. I even prepared for it. 1620. But no tears came. Just hollowness, like something inside me had finally snapped loose and drifted away. 1626. I stared at the photos, the beige walls now a trendy gray, the daisy garden replaced with decorative rocks, the porch swing, Dad's Sunday morning spot, gone. 1633. Replaced with a generic bench and throw pillows. 1639. It looked like any other house now. Any stranger scrolling Zillow would never know what used to live there. What used to matter. 1645. The longer I looked, the more I realized. It was already gone. 1651. Not just physically, spiritually, emotionally. It stopped being mine the moment they decided it was Jason's reward for simply existing. 1657, I closed the tab, exhaled, opened another. 1703, savings account. 1705. For months, I'd been quietly moving the $2,500 I used to send them into a fund of my own. 1711. At first, I didn't even know what for. It was just a silent protest, a way to reclaim something. 1716. But now? 1718. Now I knew it was time to build something of my own, not out of guilt or obligation, but out of love. 1723 for myself. 1727 I started browsing listings, modest homes, quiet streets, nothing fancy, just stable, just mine. 1733. That night I slept better than I had in months. 1738. The next day I made a list. Credit checks, down payment details, mortgage prep. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. 1745. For once, my energy wasn't being drained by a family crisis. It was being poured into me. 1751. And maybe that was the biggest shift. I was finally choosing myself. 1757. Still, the ghosts lingered. On Sunday, my hand reached for the phone. Out of habit. 1802. I used to call Mom every week, check in, ask about Jason, even when I dreaded the answers. 1808. But now, what was left to say? 1811. She'd made her choice, over and over, and each time it hadn't been me. 1816. Later that day, Aunt Linda messaged, "Your mom asked the church for help, said you abandoned her, said Jason's struggling and no one's helping." 1823. A bitter taste rose in my throat. Even now, she was still playing the victim. 1827. Abandoned? 1829. I had been the one abandoned. 1832. Emotionally, financially, spiritually. 1835. But her version of the story erased all of that. At 38. In her version, I was the cold one, the selfish daughter. 1841. And maybe that hurt most of all. 1843, because she was rewriting history, one whisper at a time. 1846. I replied to Aunt Linda, "Let her say what she wants. I'm done correcting the record." 1850. And I meant it. 1852. Let them spin their stories. I was busy writing mine. 1856. That week I toured a little 2-bedroom bungalow on the edge of town. 19. Not perfect. The backyard needed work. The kitchen was a time capsule from 1992. 1903. But the moment I stepped inside, something clicked. It felt safe. 1906. I ran my fingers along the banister, picturing coffee on slow mornings, dinners with friends. 1909. A life, mine. 1911. It has good bones, the realtor said. 1913. So do I replied. 1915. That night I put in an offer. It was accepted the next morning. 1918. And just like that, something in me shifted. Quietly. Permanently. 1922. They could spin their stories, gossip, play victims. 1925. But I had stepped out of their orbit. 1927, I was done begging for scraps of affection. 1929, done proving my worth to people who refused to see it. 1931. I was done being the good daughter, if that meant being the invisible one. 1935. This life was mine. 1937. The deed was signed, the boxes unpacked, the air filled with coffee and lemon-scented cleaner. 1941, not fancy, but home. 1943, and no one could take it from me. 1946, I was still getting used to the quiet. No passive-aggressive voicemails. No late-night crisis texts from Jason. 1950, just peace. Strange. Beautiful. 1953, until one spring Sunday someone knocked. 1955, Jason. 1958, unkempt, bloodshot, hoodie worn, 20. I didn't want to open the door. 20:02, but I did. 20:04. Hey, he said, avoiding my eyes. 20:06. I didn't respond. 20:07. Can I come in? 20:08. No. 20:09. Say what you need to say right here. 20:11. Mom's sick, he finally said. Hurt her hip. Needs surgery. Insurance denied the claim. 2014. I crossed my arms. And? 2016. She needs help. Real help. You've always been the responsible one. 2019. There it was. Again. 2021. You live in the same town, I said. Why aren't you helping? 2023. I've been helping, he snapped, while you're off playing house. 2026. The words stung, but only because they reeked of desperation, not truth. 2028. She's your mom, I said. Not just mine. 2030. She's asking for one last chance, he whispered. She talks about you all the time. 2032. Did she send you? 2033. He hesitated. No, she doesn't know I'm here. 2035. So it was manipulation. Again. 2037. I hope she recovers, I said. But I'm not paying. And I'm not coming back. 2039. You don't care, he accused. 2041. I cared for years. It nearly broke me. But caring doesn't mean bleeding for people who never stop cutting. 2044. You've changed, he said. 2046. I finally did. 2048. He left without another word. 2050. I closed the door, made coffee, sat in the sunlight. 2052. And for the first time, I felt free. 2054. Spring came early. The trees bloomed like a celebration. 2056. It had been a year since I last heard from them, a year since I stopped flinching at unknown numbers. 2059. I smiled more, slept deeper, took up hiking, adopted a clumsy little rescue cat named Marbles. 2101. Healing wasn't loud. It was a quiet unfolding. 21-3, and the turning point came in the almond milk aisle. 2105. Sophia? 2106. Mrs. Jennings, our old neighbor. 2108. You look happy, she said. 2109. I am, I replied. 2110. She told me Mom used to sit on the porch, staring into the dark, crying. 2111. She always thought you'd come back, she said. Thought she could fix it. 2112. I didn't know what to say. 2113. I used to think I could fix it too, I said. But you can't heal in the same place that broke you. 2114. No, she said, but you can grow somewhere new. 2115. That night on my porch, Marbles curled beside me, I finally understood. Healing is growth, quiet, steady, unapologetic.